Hey guys, this is Mike at Craft Beer Storm, your host and also founder brewer at Bear Brewing Company in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Today we are continuing our beer style series. We're going to talk about experimental beer. Experimental beers are any beers that are primarily grain-based and employ unique and unusual techniques and or ingredients, so it's not your standardized beer. By definition, beers which represent a combination of two or more existing categories and exhibit distinctive characteristics of each of those categories would also be characterized as experimental beers. For example, combining an Imperial IPA, like a hop aroma, high hop aroma, lighter color, and high ABV with a stout style, which is a low hop aroma, darker color, and lower ABV, you would make an Imperial IPA Stout. Hey, I don't know if that's out there, but that's an idea. I'm sure somebody's done it. Actually, I had it suggested to me. There's a brewery out in New Hampshire, Pipe Dream Brewing, which I have to talk to him again. He wanted to make a really hoppy stout. I got to talk to him. We got to make that happen. Uniqueness is the primary consideration when evaluating this category, right? It has to be unique, experimental beer. The color, clarity, aroma, hop aroma, bitterness, body, ABV, it all varies. It could be anything across the scale. For us, at Bear Brewing Company, we brew a double IPA called Outer Limits with Galaxy hops. It's delicious. And then we connected with Outer Limits Hot Sauce in New Jersey. And actually, I interviewed Ed Martin, who's the owner of Outer Limits Hot Sauce, in episode 17. So go back and check that out on how we got together. And a lot of the similarities is unbelievable. We did a Kickstarter together around the same time and came from pretty much the same area. So what we did is we infused their lime jalapeno hot sauce into our Outer Limits double IPA, and it came out great. Actually, people loved it. And I would say it's a combination of double IPA and chili beer, and we could probably enter it into the experimental beer category, right? Well, we're going to do that next year at GABF. There is a subcategory, which is Ginjo beer or Sake-Yeast beer. And these beers are brewed with Sake-Yeast, or sake enzymes. The sake character may best be described as having a mild fruitiness and a mild earthiness with a mushroom character. And then a high amount of alcohol may be evident in those beers. The color would be pale to dark brown. Clarity, there would be a slight chill. Haze is acceptable. Malt aroma and flavor is very low to medium. And the hop aroma and flavor and bitterness is low. It's about IBUs 12 to 35 International Bitterness Unit. And it's low to medium and in harmony with the sake-like character. Right? Sake is really not a bitter beer. The body varies, could vary. And the ABV is between 4.3% and 10.2%, according to GABF guidelines. There's another subcategory called wild beer, which is really interesting and very popular these days. Wild beers are spontaneously fermented with microorganisms that the brewer has introduced from the ambient air and environment in the vicinity of the brewery in which the beer is brewed. Wild beers may not be fermented with any cultured strains of yeast or bacteria. So usually what happens is we have hot water. Throw the grain in, let the grain steep in that hot water. It converts the starch to sugar. Take that sugar out, and then boil it, add the hops. When you transfer it into your fermenters, it's ready to go, and then you would add yeast. You would add some type of yeast into it, and the yeast would interact with the sugar and create alcohol and CO2. But this is, unique, where they just pump that sugar water or wort into a massive vat and just expose it to air, and that's how it ferments. There's things in the air that get into it. The most notable producers of wild ales are either in Belgium or Germany, but now the U.S. is getting into it. And it's just important to know that yeast is all around you in the air. And the method of spontaneous fermentation captures that yeast and uses it to ferment the beer. While beers may or may not be perceived as acidic, they may include highly variable spectrum of flavors and aromas derived from the wild organisms in which they are fermented. So a lot of times in beer, you would have these fruity characteristics or sour. A lot of that's coming from the yeast and how they interact with those sugars, and it produces these awesome flavors. Allagash in Maine actually built a cool ship, and they pumped that sugar water into a massive container, and they just let the natural yeast in the air ferment it up in Maine. Actually, I just connected with Jason Perkins via email, who's the brewmaster at Allagash in Maine. And I'm hoping to have him on the show in the new year. He says he's busy now. He's running around, but hopefully we get him on in the new year. If you know Jason, tell him about us, nudge him along. We use their barrels, actually. It's awesome. We use their Jim Beam barrels. They get barrels from Jim Beam, and they make the Curio, which is delicious. And then we take them, and we use them to condition our stuff. We've conditioned the stout, strong ales. For our current anniversary, 2018 ale, we conditioned Weizenbach in the barrel. I've never done it before, but it came out delicious, and it's on tap right now. So come on in. 2800 Lafayette Road, Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Come on in. Okay, color. The color, any color is acceptable, right? Wide range. Clarity could be clear or hazy due to the yeast, right? And there's a chill haze or hop haze. So it could be clear to hazy. Malt aroma. Generally, these beers have a very low or to low malt character. I guess the yeast and those flavors are the ones that are produced and are pronounced in these beers. Hop aroma and flavor and bitterness is very low to high. It could be high. The body, very low to medium. Right, it's more not of a thick kind of ale, so it's more of a watery, kind of ale, lighter kind of ale. ABV is 8.5 to 12.2%. And glassware for experimental beer could be like a Belgian style or a tulip glass. You want a wide open mouth on the glass. You want to savor it. This is also not a beer you chug, right? You enjoy it, enjoy the beer. So examples of courtesy of Beer Advocate for a Ginjo beer or a Sake-Yeast beer would be Sakatumi from Lagunitas Brewing Company, and the ABV on that is about 9%. Also, there's extra dry sake style saison ale. From Stillwater Artisanal Ales, and that ABV is 4.2%. So you can have a wide range as well, not from 9% to 4.2%. Wild beer examples would be from Russian River Brewing Company, Supplication, which comes in at a 7% ABV, and then they have Consecration, which comes out at 10% ABV. And for Allagash Brewing Company, they have Avancé, which is awesome. I tried it. It's a really good beer, delicious beer. And that's coming in at 9.7% ABV. And they also have Cool Ship Resurgam, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right, from Allagash Brewing Company. That's 6.3%. So that's probably naturally fermented in their Cool Ship. So that is our podcast today on experimental beer. If you like what we're doing, if you enjoy the program, please go on iTunes, give us a rating, give us a review, subscribe. That's the only way we get moved up in the rankings. That's how iTunes sees it. They have their algorithms, and that's how we get ranked up there. And we're trying to give you good quality information. It's for free. We don't charge you anything. But all I ask for you is just to go on there and give us a review and a rating. And also tell a friend or tell 10 friends. That's awesome. And I hope you tune in. On Mondays we have interviews with brewers or people in the industry, craft beer industry. Wednesdays we have our Beer Styles podcast. And then on Fridays we have beer news podcast where we cover the craft beer news of the week. So that's what we have for today. I hope you have a great day, rest of the day, and onward. Take care.